Hello guys, thank you for joining the first episode of C.L.E.A.N. with Olayinka. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be speaking to you. I also want to thank you for those interesting questions. Wow, they were so amazing. We had so many responses. We had to merge the questions together. All the same, we just want to thank you for believing in C.L.E.A.N. with Olayinka. I also want to thank the advisory team for helping out with this. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Let me start by sharing the agenda for the day with you. Today, we are going to know more about C.L.E.A.N. with Olayinka. We're going to be discussing our theme for the day, and I'm going to be telling you some little things about myself, and we are going to go into the question and answer. Stay tuned. I believe you are going to have a rewarding experience with C.L.E.A.N. with Olayinka. I would also advise that you please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Please make comments, like and share so that others can see it. We are going to be having an event at the end of this year. It promises to be very big with major industry experts, and this event will be open to our subscribers. So please subscribe and please watch all the videos on this session. Thank you. Please stay tuned as we go into the session for today. So let me tell you about C.L.E.A.N. with Olayinka. I'm a chartered accountant, I'm a chartered stockbroker, and I'm also a charter holder from the CFA Institute. Being a CFA teacher and a teacher that takes finance courses, I discovered that people usually have a desire to do more, and they always set goals for themselves. However, I also observed that people also had the tendency to give up too soon. They look at successful people and they don't know that these people have gone through so many failures. This encouraged me to start sharing stories about myself on LinkedIn. Now, I discovered that the responses from those stories were quite overwhelming for me alone, because people wanted to have one-on-one sessions with me. And because I'm limited in capacity, I couldn't attend to all the messages. This created C.L.E.A.N. with Olayinka. So C.L.E.A.N. is about building people that believe that they can break boundaries, people who believe that they are limitless, people who believe in their abilities to impact their communities. And from my own personal life experiences, I think this is achievable. So welcome to C.L.E.A.N. with Olayinka. Now, our vision in C.L.E.A.N. is to build people who believe that they are boundless. Our mission is we believe nothing is impossible for us. We have no limits and reach out for what we desire, impacting people and communities through appropriate actions. Let me talk about the plan for 2020. In 2020, we are going to have a series of episodes. So I will advise that you please subscribe to this channel and turn on your notification. We are also going to have a big event at the end of the year where we'll have experts come and speak to us. It promises to be a very exciting year for C.L.E.A.N. with Olayinka. Our theme for today is have confidence in yourself. Like I said before, C.L.E.A.N. with Olayinka is about building people who believe they are limitless and they can. Now, the first thing you have to know is that I use the word believe. Believe because confidence is a mindset. Whether you think you can do it or you think you cannot, it's just what you think it is. It is just a mindset. So you have to believe in yourself and believe in your abilities. Another thing I want you to know about having confidence in self is this. If you don't believe in your abilities, nobody will believe in you. There's an adage in my language that says, literally, it means whatever you call yourself is what others will call you. So let me give you a background about who Olayinka Episode is. I come from a family of 6. I'm the first child and I have 3 brothers. Growing up, I seemed to be the least intelligent. When we were in primary school, whilst others got gifts and recognitions and prizes and awards from the school, I couldn't get any because my best was an average and I'm normally a below average student. I ended up going to a public school, not because my parents couldn't afford sending me to a private international school or the federal school, but just because I couldn't pass the common entrance even when I tried when I was in GSS 1. I shared a story early this year, and I said when I was in GSS 2, when my mom just got tired of my poor academic performance, she enrolled me in a coaching school. And at the end of the coaching school, I can remember that day vividly. The proprietor advised my mom to let me be in GS 1 in the coaching school and leave me in GS 2 in school. And my mom was like, no, how can you say that? And he just threw 2 questions at me. 7 times 8, I couldn't answer. 8 times 9, I couldn't answer. Imagine the humiliation for me when you have to be in a coaching school with your juniors. Those are some of the experiences that I went through. Now, another story is this. When I was in GSS 3 and I wrote my certificate examination, my result was a C parallel. In fact, that was the best I could have achieved. And my mom advised me to go into the arts instead of the sciences. Given your history, I don't think you'll be able to cope in the sciences. As young as I was, I didn't like people placing limitations on me, and I insisted on going into the sciences. Of course, you know what happened? I went into the sciences and everything was still average. Just before I finished from secondary school, I was 16 years old when I had this fire accident. Imagine what it meant for a young girl like me. I had scarred body, scarred face, and I remember for so many weeks, they didn't allow me to use the mirror because they believed that it was going to affect my self-confidence. When I got to SS3, I wrote my WAEC certificate examination. And whilst waiting for the results, I worked with my father, who is a pharmacist in his chemist. And prior to that time, my father has always told us that he only has money to pay for your WAEC exams once. That if you don't pass, it's either you go and learn hairdressing or you learn fashion designing. And because I didn't want any of those two, I knew that my physics wasn't likely to come out well, and I didn't want to leave the option of rewriting the exam on the table. So I told him that I wanted to change my career path from being a pharmacist to being an accountant. And the reason was simply because I didn't know what accountants do, but I just knew that I didn't need physics to do it. So he agreed with me, and I pursued my course in accountancy. It didn't end there. The next hurdle was to pass JAMB. I wrote JAMB so many years, and I couldn't get admission into the university because I couldn't meet the cutoff. Eventually, out of being tired of staying at home, I decided to write C.L.E.A.N examination. That was how I started writing my C.L.E.A.N exams. Now, I've gone through all of these experiences. When I started working, I also lost my first job 4 years into it, and I had the challenge of having a career switch. It wasn't easy. I remember while I was still in banking, I tried getting into one of the big 4 consulting firms, but I just couldn't pass the test, and then I lost that opportunity. So these are some of the experiences that I've gone through. Looking at all these experiences put together, what do these experiences mean to me personally? They mean to me that I can always surmount any challenge. They have built in me the capacity not to give up. And I want you to know too, that this experience that I'm sharing with you should also challenge you, that you should never give up, but you can just change your mindset and believe you can achieve anything you have set your mind to do. I'm not sure many people have this kind of unique life journey that I've heard, but I would say that if I could have gone through this series of events and survived, even flourishing in it, so to speak, then you can too. So you have to have confidence in yourself. Welcome to the Q&A segment. Thank you for sending in all those questions. We had so many questions that we couldn't believe we were going to have so many responses like that. Thank you once again for sending in such questions. So the Q&A questions range from career switch to career advice to personal questions for me, as well as working in big 4 consulting firms. So let's get it started. Now, the first question is this: how realistic is it for me to have a career switch? In answering these questions, we reached out to some HR personnel for their perspectives on career switch. And putting all together, this is the response. Number one, in engaging in a career switch, you have to understand the competency structure of the industry you want to switch to. In getting a career switch, you also have to develop your skill set to make sure it fits into the position you are applying for. Apply for volunteer roles for the industry you are trying to get into, and you can also volunteer your services free of charge to get the necessary experience that you need. Now, and one thing that is common in career switch is you have to make up your mind that you may have to take a pay cut. Now, for those that reached out to say they were concerned about their age barriers, well, what I would say is you just have to keep being hopeful. Now, don't let people discourage you about whether or not you are suitable for a career switch. Everything is possible. Please don't give up. Our second question is this: how can I advance in my career and recover lost time? Now, for you to advance in your career, wherever it is you are working, you have to demonstrate excellence. You have to demonstrate that you have the capacity to do more. You should volunteer yourself for ad hoc assignments. You should make sure that you are supporting the organizational views and structures. In addition to that, make sure that you are developing yourself. Make sure you have the drive to learn. You have the desire to do more. With this, I'm sure you are going to get the required promotion. Our third question is this: how did you grow in your career without overseas education? Now, for me, my only strategy is to develop myself and not position myself for any company. It is not about the company, it is about you. And what you discover is preparation always meets with opportunity. So if you have invested in yourself, a good company or your dream company will sponsor you and you will get hired. Our fourth question is this: is an on-site MBA really necessary, or can I opt for an online MBA? Now, this question is about postgraduate studies, and people's opinion with respect to this is diverse. While some believe on-site is the best, some believe you can achieve the same objective with online. So this is what I will say to you: it depends on your objective. It depends on so many other factors. It depends on the funding, and as well as your ability to study online and make sure that you achieve the necessary goal. We have this question that says, what does it take to be a Big Four employee, and how can I get a Big Four employment? Now, what it takes: the Big Four consulting firms always seek the best and the brightest. The reason being that their only capital is human resource, and because of this, they have minimum requirements of who they want to hire. You have to have the right attitude. Let me tell you this: technical skills with bad attitude is bad news. You have to make sure that you have the right attitude, that people want to work with you, that you're a good team player. In addition to this, the Big Four is a fast-paced environment, so you have to make sure that your skills sets are up to date and they fit the role that you want to apply for. Now, how do you get into the Big Four? I've shared a story before that whilst I was embarking in my first job, I wanted to be in the Big Four. I went ahead and wrote the test, but I didn't pass. And so it made getting a career switch from banking into consulting difficult for me. And I'd already given up on working in a Big Four until later when I got an opportunity. How do you get it? Number one, you have to understand the minimum requirements for the Big Four. They usually have minimum requirements. So check what the minimum requirement is and make sure that you work towards having that minimum requirement. You also need to get the necessary professional certification. So for instance, if you studied accountancy, you should know that you should be a chartered accountant, whether through C.L.E.A.N. or ACCA. you should also follow the firm that you want on LinkedIn, because they would always post opportunities, especially for graduate training programs. Graduate training programs are once a year. So if you're a graduate and you know that the Big Four consulting firm is where you want to start your career, make sure that you are following these Big Four firms on LinkedIn. In addition to that, you have to network with people that are in the firm that you choose to work with, so that they can give you information on when these opportunities are available. Because most times, especially for experienced hire, what you find out is that your jobs are not going to be advertised. It is your friend or your relationship that will tell you about an opening. I have this question that says, what challenges have you faced in your career? From the personal story I shared, you would agree with me that I've faced a lot of challenges, from job loss, from challenges in having a career switch, from poor academic history whilst in school, to job hunting where I lost my job, and for so many months I was jobless and I was seriously hunting for a job. So I faced many challenges, but like I said, your situation should not define who you are. I have this question that says, what keeps people in consulting? My experience is long hours, late nights, and sacrificed weekends. When I got this question, it was very hilarious to me, and what came to my mind is irony of life, because I have so many questions on people asking on how to get Big Four employment, and I have this person who is in the Big Four and is dissatisfied with the sacrifice he has to make in being an Big Four employee. But this is what I will say to you. You have to love your job. If you don't love your job, I don't know what you are doing there. Now, I enjoy where I work, and I'm always happy going to work every morning. So for me, whether I'm paid or I'm not paid, I'll still show up at work. We have this question. Did you ever doubt whether you will rise as far as you have? Do you have self-doubts? Now, I don't bother myself as to whether I will rise or I will not rise. I just bother myself about the investment I make in myself and an investment I make in people. Now, if you concentrate on how far can I go, you may not get anything done, because what you realize is you're just focusing on the end and you're not focusing on your journey. Now, your journey is as important as the end, because your experiences are supposed to teach you certain things. If you don't learn from those experiences, you may not rise. Now, I told the story of how I've faced humiliation growing up. I've shared the story of how I survived a fire accident. I've shared the story of how I survived a job loss. Now, from those experiences, I've been able to build confidence in myself. So I would say to you, please do not entertain self-doubt. If you want to get something, face it and go for it. Now, what I realize is that people who have self-doubts are either afraid to fail or afraid to make mistakes. I'm not afraid to fail. Because I know that if I fail, I'm going to learn from it. I'm not afraid to make mistakes, because I know if I make mistakes, the next time I won't make the mistakes. So I would advise you that you should throw yourself out there and learn from your experiences. There is a misconception. People usually think that confidence is a talent. I don't agree. Confidence is a skill. People who are confident work on being confident. So you have to work on being confident. Another thing that will help you is make sure you don't have people who discourage you in your space. Make sure you only have people with positive vibes. If there's anybody that attacks your confidence, please stay away from them. We have this question. Can I get an internship that can be combined with a full-time master's degree? My response is this: of course, just apply to schools with such options. You remember, everything is possible. The next question asks this: what's your opinion on working without pay, but for the experience? Have you ever made a choice between higher pay and experience before? This is what I'll say to you. Experience is like an investment in yourself. If you are working somewhere and you think that you are not well paid, or that you are not paid at all, but the experience, you are enjoying the experience, I will tell you to go for it and keep at it. Reason being that that experience is like an investment into yourself and is going to pay off in the future. Now, the second question is asking if I've ever had to make a choice. Of course, I did have to make a choice on whether I want to go for the pay or I want to go for the experience. Now, if you check my profile, my last job, I had to walk away from a brand new car. I'd only used the car for 8 months. And when I got the offer from my current employer, it didn't come with a car, but I had to leave the car because I knew that the experience would be worth more than the value of that car. So that is an example for you. And I can assure you, I have no regrets for doing that. I have this question. What made you commit yourself to self-development? And is your family supportive? Now, I've gone through so many life embarrassments, and I think that's a ginger for me to commit to myself. There's something that I know that is a gift. I hardly give up. Now, I've always had a strong will. Talking about when I was in JSS 3 and my mom tried to convince me to go into the arts because she feels that I don't have capacity to be in science class. But I still went ahead to do it. There are so many things that people have tried to tell me you can't do. I remember when I wanted to start my CFA exams, and I discussed with a friend who was already a charter holder, and he told me that I don't think you are going to be able to do this. You are married, you are getting old, you have a child that needs your attention, you are working. How are you going to be able to combine this with writing the CFA exam? And for me, the only thing that gingers me is people challenging me to saying that there's something I can't achieve. I just try to find out if I believe I can achieve it, I will achieve it. So for me, that is a motivation for committing to myself. Now, the second question asks about if I have a supportive family. Of course, I have a supportive family. Post-marriage, my support is my husband. He's always there for me. However, you shouldn't have an entitlement mentality from your family members, because remember, it's your vision, it's not their vision. So you shouldn't expect that they should commit financially or emotionally to your own vision. So whatever support that they give you, I advise that you take it with gratitude. Now, this is an interesting question. What is the advantage that accelerated your career development? For me, what I would say has accelerated my career success is pain. I want to tell you that it's not all the time that pain is not good for you. From series of failures and disappointments, I've been able to discover myself and discover my ability. So most times when I want to venture into something that I think is more challenging than my ability, I remember all those challenges that I faced, from trying to gain admission into the university, from trying to write I.C.A.N. exams, from trying to write CFA exams with 3 kids and the like. So for me, failures and disappointments and the consequent pain have been the accelerator for my career development. This question says, what is your success formula? I'm very focused, I'm resilient, I believe in hard work, I believe in integrity, I believe in having the right attitude, I believe in being appreciative of the little that you have. So for me, that would be the success formula. Our next question is this. My job applications are not often successful. What am I doing wrong? This is what I will say to you. 1, make sure that your CV is professionally written. Also, try to get feedback from those companies that you have applied to and turn down your application. Remember, I said that I tried to get into one of the Big 4 many years ago and I couldn't because I failed the test. So the lesson for me from there is this. Before you go for any job test, make sure that you are prepared. Make sure that before you go for any interview, you speak to employees there to know the DNA of the employees in the firm that you're applying to. And in asking this question, I also remember that there is a particular respondent that says she has applied for internship positions in 15 companies and none of them agreed to give her an opportunity, I would suggest that you speak to your colleagues that got the offer to know what they did differently. This would also help you to leverage on their experience. This question says, I love my job, but I find it difficult getting into my dream firm. What's your take? This is my opinion. You know, the concept of dream job can create discontent in you. For me, I've never had, comparing my current job with a dream job. I just make sure that each day, I develop myself. I'm better than yesterday, because you find out that companies are always looking for particular skill sets. So if you just focus on yourself and develop yourself, your dream job will come calling after you. So for instance, 2 years ago, there were 2 firms that I applied for. One gave me an opportunity to attend the interview. The other didn't even respond to my application. But last year, those 2 firms came back calling, looking for me. So it's not about the dream job, it's about you. So don't get dissatisfied with your current job because of a dream job. Take advantage of the opportunity that you have. I would also like to say to you that you should appreciate your current role, because if you don't appreciate what you have, it's not likely you're going to get anything better. Also, in getting your dream job, leverage LinkedIn and make sure that you're networking with people. But don't let your desire to get into another job affect your performance on your current role. This question says, how do you handle being a career woman? I would say focus, resilience, and a lot of sacrifices and denials. Personally, I'm married to somebody that understands my dream and gives me the right support to accomplish my vision. Professionally, I do not work as if I'm a woman. I don't expect unnecessary favors because I'm a woman. I just do my thing and I go. This next question says, how do I know what career path to follow, or if I am in the right job? I'll say this to you, that you should read more about the available career options. Number 2, don't close the door on any opportunity that you have. 3, I will say don't define yourself too early, because you really do not know what you will love or what you will not love until you try. There's one of the respondents that said she just started a new job and she doesn't think it's something she would love to do, but she's afraid to take a decision because she doesn't want people to think she doesn't know what she wants. I will say this to you, why don't you give yourself some time to settle into the new role? Keep an open mind, and again I repeat, don't define yourself too early. Most people usually do not know what they want to do until they try different things. So all these things about career is trial and error, and whenever opportunity presents itself. But I would say make sure that whatever thing you have, you find yourself doing, make sure that you are excellent on that role. This question is, how do you learn from someone that does not create time for you? I don't understand the circumstance, but my advice is this. Number 1, you can observe the person. If the person is a mentor to you and the person doesn't have time for you, you can observe the person and see what the person does and imitate what the person does. Number 2, you can try to have a discussion with that person. Maybe the person can fit you on his or her schedule to give you the mentorship that you require. The next question is, how do I connect into international business network? I'll say this to you, you have to be very active on social media. You have to network with people in the space that you want to play. And it's also important that you try to attend international events. I recently lost my job. I do not know if I should start searching or take a break. Now, when I read the profile of this person that lost her job, she's a customer service officer in one of the banks. She's been there for 4 years, and the bank recently made her redundant. The first thing that came to my mind is congratulations, because you still have time to get your career back. This is what I would say to you as to whether you should start searching for another job or you should wait. It actually depends on your objective. But for me, I started searching for another job. Immediately, I lost my first one. And whilst searching for the other job, I just didn't sit at home without developing myself. In that period, I was able to finish my CIS exams that I had abandoned for years, and I also started writing my CFA exams. And along the line, a new job came, and of course, the rest is history. What is the best way to network? Number one, people would always want to be around people that add value to them. So if you want to network, make sure that you have considered the value you want to add to that person. Number two, what I've noticed on LinkedIn, which I think people should stop in a quest to network, is trying to, from my experience, LinkedIn is a platform for very busy people. So if you want to network, don't just say, hello, good evening. Because what you realize is that most people do not respond. I would suggest that if you have a value to add, why don't just type a simple message and send to that person so the person knows upfront what your request is. This question says, how did you find your purpose? Number one, you have to identify who you are. If you don't know yourself, you won't know what your purpose is. Number two, you have to surround yourself with people that understand your purpose. Because if they don't understand your purpose, they are going to kill your dreams. I remember I met my husband when I was in 100 level in university. And he told me something, that when he met me, he knew that I was going to be a career woman. And that he asked himself that is he going to be able to cope with this person's ambition? And to him, the answer is yes, and that is why we are together. So for most times, for all the career milestones I've achieved, it's usually the one prompting me that, okay, I think it's time for you to write your CFA exams. I think it's time for you to complete this. So you have to surround yourself with people that understand your vision. Another thing that I've discovered is this: there is no self-made success. Success is a joint effort. If you don't have support, you're likely to fail. So you have to surround yourself with people that support you, people that understand your vision, and people that are willing to help you. This question says, when did you start your CFA exams and what prompted it? I started my CFA exams in 2012, but I had always had the desire to write CFA exams. So let me step back a little. I finished my C.L.E.A.N exams when I was in level 2 in the university. I became a chartered accountant in 200 level, and I started writing my CIS exams immediately. That's Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers exam. The reason why I wrote CIS then was because there was nobody that was going to fund my CFA exams. We all know that CFA exams is very expensive. And of course, then there was no center in Nigeria, so you had to travel abroad to write the exams. And of course, I knew my parents had supported me in writing C.L.E.A.N. They are funding my undergraduate studies, and they were not going to fund the CFA exams. So in the interim, instead of waiting after my C.L.E.A.N exams, I started writing CIS exams. So I'd always wanted to write CFA exams. When I finished school and started working in 2008, somehow I forgot about the dream of CFA, and all the books that I had about CFA, I just left them on my shelf for many years. So what really triggered me was the job loss. So the job loss triggered me to starting my CFA exams in 2012. And for me, my journey was a very long one. It took me 5 years to complete the exams. That 5 years was surrounded by a lot of factors, but at each stage, I made sure that, I never gave up on getting the charter. How can I combine tight work schedules, managing the home front, especially my kids, and committing to develop myself? Well, I would say this. I understand this requires a lot of courage, it requires a lot of determination, and it also requires a lot of sacrifice. But if you believe you can, I think you would be able to do it. You can also study people that have done it and have been successful at doing all these things that you hope to achieve. Learn from them, listen to their stories, and pick up lessons on how they were able to do it. Hello guys, thank you for listening to me. I hope I've been able to answer your questions. I would please say that you should subscribe to this YouTube channel. You should like the video. You should share it because you might be helping somebody, and you should leave your comments on how we can make it better. Like I said before, we are going to be having an event at the end of the year, and it's going to be very big. But before then, I'd like you to know that this event will be open to those that subscribe to this channel. Please subscribe to this channel. Thank you and see you soon. I believe that you are unlimited.